Political analyst, Professor Jack Pitney from Claremont McKenna College.
Good evening, Professor. Thanks for joining us. Our first question tonight, the most emotional moment by far of the night was when the president honored the widow of the Navy SEAL killed in an operation that he ordered. Take a look at this.
I just spoke to our great General Mattis just now, who reconfirmed that, and I quote, Ryan was a part of a highly successful raid that generated large amounts of vital intelligence that will lead to many more victories in the future against our enemy. Ryan's legacy is etched into eternity. Thank you.
It, in fact, gained the most applause for the night. Professor, your thoughts on that moment?
Well, it was a very well-written passage, and it was politically effective because the serviceman's father had recently criticized the administration over the management of the raid. And this was a way of deflecting the criticism in a way that was emotional, powerful, and drew attention away from the specifics of the policy to the sacrifice. And so it was a very presidential moment and very effective.
Yeah, Professor, I think it was a showstopper because the applause there went on for more than 2 minutes because of that. Let's move on to the president. He also explained his America First policy to describe his views on trade tonight. So let's take a listen to that, and then Jack on the backside will get your reaction.
I believe strongly in free trade, but it also has to be fair trade. It's been a long time since we had fair trade. The first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, warned that the abandonment of the protective policy by the American government will produce want and ruin among our people. Lincoln was right, and it's time we heeded his advice and his words.
So who will that resonate with the most, you think, Jack?
Well, it'll resonate with Democrats because free trade must be fair trade is a staple of Democratic rhetoric. And it will probably play well with the general public. The trouble is in the details. As time goes on, people are going to look at this, and the kind of things he may end up proposing will impose great costs on consumers and could hurt the economy. That's going to be a big subject of debate in the months ahead.
All right, and of course, a lot of people waiting to see what he's going to do about Obamacare. Here's what he said about it.
Action is not a choice, it is a necessity. So I am calling on all Democrats and Republicans in Congress to work with us to save Americans from this imploding Obamacare disaster.
Of course, we've heard him call it a disaster before. Professor, do you think he said enough about it? Do we have enough details?
No, we are way short on details. In any kind of health care program, you want to minimize cost, you want to maximize access, maximize quality. Very, very hard to do all three things at the same time, and we'll wait and see whether he has a plan that can even make a start toward those goals.
Okay, now let's go to taxes. The president also promised tax relief to Americans. He specifically talked about the middle class and the corporate side as well to businesses. So let's get a look at that soundbite and then your reaction on the backside.
Right now, American companies are taxed at one of the highest rates anywhere in the world. My economic team is developing historic tax reform that will reduce the tax rate on our companies so they can compete and thrive anywhere and with anyone. It will be a big, big cut. At the same time, we will provide massive tax relief for the middle class. We must create a level playing field for American companies and our workers. Okay,
Professor, your reaction to that?
Well, initially, tax cuts are very popular. Here's the problem. 47% of American households already don't pay any income tax because they generally are low income. So by definition, the kinds of things the president is talking about will tend to benefit the more affluent. Expect Democrats to be hammering that point ahead, and expect Republicans to talk about tax cuts as an engine of economic growth. That's what the debate's going to be about for the rest of the year.
All right, Professor Jack Pitney from Claremont McKenna College, thanks for your insight tonight.